Okay, so for this one, we're going to look at solving equations and inequalities graphically. And again, you may have seen this before, probably when in algebra, when you solve systems of equations, systems of linear equations. Sometimes you do that graphically, and the way you do that is where do the two lines intersect? So where the two lines intersect, that's the solution to that system. So here we're not really looking at systems; we're just looking at two functions and trying to figure out where they are equal, where one is greater than the other, or vice versa. So the solution to the equation f of x equals g of x is where the graphs intersect, and that seems pretty obvious. The solutions of the inequality, say f of x is less than g of x, this is where the graph of g, because g is greater than f, the graph of g is higher than f. So in this case, here we have for the equality, they intersect at A, they intersect at B, so those would be the solutions to that equation, f of x equals g of x. Now, where f of x is less than g of x, we want to find where is the graph of f, which is this one, below the graph of g. And in this case, it is between A and B. So we would say the interval from A to B, not including A or not including B, because that's where they're equal. So let's look at an example. So we're solving 2x squared plus 3 equals 5x plus 6, or we're going to go with the inequalities. So for this one, where do they equal? And maybe we need to zoom in a little bit. So where do they equal? So they equal each other right there, and they equal each other right there. So we're looking at the x, because obviously when you solve this equation, you're solving for x. So the x, where they equal, is -1, and this one would be 2. Okay, so that's where they're equal. Now, where is this one less than this one? Now, obviously, hopefully, obviously, this one is the 2x squared plus 3. The linear is the 5x plus 6. So where is the quadratic lower than the linear? So that would be where it's down here. So that would be between -1 and 2. Now notice we have the equal part here, so we're going to write these in brackets because we want to include the -1, we want to include the 2. Here, we don't have the equal part. We want to know where the 2x squared plus 3 is above on the graph, above 5x plus 6. So all of this part, so from -infinity all the way to -1, union to infinity. So after this point, the quadratic will always be above. Now, another thing, we might talk about this in a minute a little bit more, but the important thing to know, because we'll look at other polynomials besides quadratics, knowing if a graph is going to change direction again, that's pretty important. So we should know quadratics have this form where they kind of looks like a U or an N if it's upside down. You know that it's never going to turn around again. It's not going to come up like this and then come back down. That's not what happens. If it's a cubic, then it does. If it's a quartic, a degree 4 polynomial, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So knowing this information can be helpful, but on these problems on the homework, you will see all the necessary information. But that could be useful at some point to remember those things. All right, so next one. So now we have one that does not go to positive and negative infinity. So which is larger, f of 6 or g of 6? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here is 6. So looks like g of 6 is larger. Which is larger, f of 3 or g of 3? So that would be right there. So here it looks like f of 3 is larger. So all we're doing is which graph is higher than the other graph at that particular point. For which values of x is f of x equal to g of x? So we have right here, we have right here, and we have right here. And of course they tell you we're looking for x. So we have 2, we have 5, and we have 7. for which values of x is f of x less than g of x. So where is the blue one below the red one? So from 1 up to 2, now we have the equal part. So 1 to 2, including that, and actually we should include that too, because that is part of the graph. Union, and then here f is above it, so we're not including that. Here f is below g, so from 5 to 7. And then for the rest of the way, looks like f is above g. Where is oops, I did those. Nope, I did. That's right. Okay. So where is f of x greater than g of x? And now we're not going to include where they're equal. So f of x is above g of x here. So 2 to 5 with parentheses. And then union after 7 up to 8. Oh, and we would include the 8 because that is an endpoint and that is part of the graph. Okay, so I think we'll stop this one here, and on the next one we'll look at increasing, decreasing, and max and min.